Morning. Welcome to the Indian Political Thought class. Today we'll discuss Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Unit 3. He was born in 1866 and he died in 1915. He was an educationist. He was a leader of the nationalist movement in India. In fact, he belonged to the what is called the moderate faction of the Indian national movement or Indian Congress. So he had a good knowledge of the economy, and he tried to what is called the specialization of the politics, and which was later used by Gandhi. In fact, Gandhi called Gokhale as his political guru. So he had this moral approach, moral questions on the political issues and public obligations. And in fact, he didn't want the violent method, or he did not sanction the use of evil means for political goals. So Gokhale accepted what is called the moderate approach, which involved the negotiations, moderation, and compromise kind of approach to the political movement, this national movement in India. So he had to believe in the constitutional means. So that is just brief background of the Gopal Krishna Gokhale. So let's come to his political ideas. So moderate nationalism of Gokhale. So for Gokhale, nationalism was a self-devotion to a higher cause, and the basic task of the liberation of men was through the moral, intellectual development, and also the physical abilities and talents. So the public duty and political work were the means to the national service. So he believed in the gradual, the national movement and gradual political transformation. He did not appeal the radical methods or the violent methods adopted by the, the Tilak and other extremist factions of the Indian national movement or the Congress. He recognized the role of the Indian National Congress in the national building, and he thought it is a common platform to raise the issues concerning about India and also Indian people and the national welfare. And he tried to mobilize, the people through the Congress platform. So in fact, he was a leader of the Congress at that time when he was there. So he had faith in what is called the British liberalism, and in fact, he thought that it will be a kind of a great help to India by using the British rule. So that he had that kind of thinking. But at the same time, he criticized the bureaucracy, the administration for irresponsibility, and in fact, he protested the oppressiveness of the bureaucracy. So he was committed to the region, spiritual and moral liberation, and also what is called the universal tolerance. And he believed in human equality and championed the cause of the depressed classes. And as I said, he believed in the supremacy of the British power in India. So, in fact, he thought there could be a kind of a harmonious cooperation between India and England. Okay, and he said that the exclusion or the denial of the Indians to the British administration and the decision-making process was lowering the morale of the Indians. So therefore, he wanted to create a strong foundation of the nationalism in India through hard work and sacrifice. So that was his idea of what is called the nationalism. And in fact, some of the demands made by Gokhale was that there should be some kind of reform in the Legislative Council, representation of the Indians in the Legislative Council, Advisory Council, district administration, separation of the judicial from the executive administration, then expansion of the primary education, reduction in the military expenditure by the British Indian government, and also in the economic sense, the rural indebtedness, bankruptcy kind of things should be reduced, and there should be growth of what is called the industry in India. So this means this goal should be achieved through what is called the constitutional means. So that's briefly about his idea of the nationalism in India. Let's come to Gokhale's idea of what is called the national building. National building is a concept where you have the sense of India, sense of belonging in India, and love for your country, a unification or awareness that India is our motherland kind of a thing was lacking. So you need to build up that kind of India as a nation. In that, people should come together, and he recognized that okay, you have different communities. So he was concerned with the how to bring these different communities together and kind of a unity. That was he thought in that way, and Hindu community was mild and defunctional elements of the caste. In other words, he realized the difficulty in transformation of what is called the bringing unity within the Hindu because of the caste system, and also he realized the problem of Hindu-Muslim unity or coming together. So in that context, he said, try to build up this kind of nationalism, and of course at the same time he realized that this kind of issue can be brought out. So talks about national building require the cultivation of the norms, rules, and the values. Of course, that should be rooted in the material and the moral good of all the communities. So he wanted to build a nation based on a pluralist pattern. Okay, this is important. Pluralist pattern, through social, cultural, cooperative, and educational activities. So it was not just a political agenda, political goal, political movement, but through this cultural, social, and cooperative, and also educational activities. And that way he could, Gokhale thought that a national building could be achieved in India. So this should be the foundation of the Indian political system. So this was a contrast to the revolutionaries and anarchist epochs in his days. So he was in favor of separate electorate for the Muslims to some extent, and Gokhale accepted the majority Hindus' role and need for accommodation of the minorities like Muslim in the national building and nationalism process. So in that sense, he had a realistic understanding of the Indian society, Indian national movement. Now let's come to Gokhale's economic ideas. You can go through the materials. But just simple, brief understanding, holistic understanding, of course, thematic-wise understanding of the Gokhale's political ideas. Now let's come to Gokhale's economic ideas. He was an economist before he joined this active politics and the national movement. He had a concern for the problem of the industrial and agricultural growth in India, and he recognized the conflict between the monetary capitalist economy